What's up, guys? Josh Lau here at TheCardGuyz, and today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new expansion slot card for Sir Bolton, Breaker of Dawn, Battlefield Beacon. So, Battlefield Beacon is a zero-cost yellow pitch light warrior attack action card that attacks for 3, blocks for 3, and it says when this attacks, choose 1 for each card you've banished from your soul this combat chain. You may choose the same mode up to 3 times. And then it has create a courage token, create a toughness token, create a vigor token. So courage tokens, these have been around for a while. Bolton has several ways to generate them through Iron Song Verses, Banner of Courage, that basically stays on the field until you play an attack action card or you use your weapon and it'll give it +1. This is very, very nice because it synergizes with Bolton's hero ability, allowing you to give go again to attacks. Vigor tokens have been around for a while as well. These are a little bit tougher for Bolton to generate. You can generate it through Goblet, through there's an instant that creates one as well. But Vigor tokens are generally a little bit harder for Bolton to make. And then Toughness, this is the new token from Super Slam that says at the start of your opponent's turn, destroy the Toughness token, and then the next action card you defend with this turn gets +1 defense, this chain link. So let's break down the card a little bit. So, too long didn't watch. Basically, this is a pretty good role player card. This is a card that is well statted. It is a yellow pitch, light 3-block attack action card. These are all very relevant. Yellow pitch card is quite nice because there's a lot of cards, especially from Dusk Till Dawn, that stipulate you must charge a yellow. There are also some equipment pieces that stipulate you must charge a yellow. Being a light card is very good because Lumina Ascension via the Vanguard demand that you charge or reveal light cards. Being a 3-block is obviously very good. That's one of the reasons why I'm a little bit allergic to Courageous Steel Hand. And then being an attack action card is actually also relevant as well, because if you draw this off Bolt of Courage or a Snatch on a Via the Vanguard turn, you're not disappointed when you gave your attack go again before you saw what you draw. Also, this will operate basically as a chain ender. I mentioned Bolt of Courage and Snatch. Also Illuminate. These are all cards that you stick on at the end. So you start off with some charge card. The most classic example is Beaming Bravado. Then you follow up with Raiden. And then you end with an Illuminate, a Snatch, a Bolt of Courage, or a Battlefield Beacon. This is a card that requires some amount of setup in order to extract the maximum value. If you can utilize some cards that we're going to talk about very soon, such as Celestial Cataclysm, Lumina Lance, there's a couple other cards, you can basically banish a lot of cards from your soul during one turn, and then you get to generate more than 2 or 3, which is probably going to be what most of the time happens. You can generate maybe 6 or upwards tokens. This is a card that scales off of larger hands because the more cards that you banish from your soul, the larger and more valuable that you get to choose more tokens. So being able to go 4 wide is definitely preferred with this card, and going 4 wide is a little bit tricky in Bolton if you don't have a card in Arsenal or you don't have your full hand, because you generally have to charge, which is 1 less card. This is a card that will set up future turns for you because courage tokens are extremely important as Bolton. This is one of the best tokens for Sir Bolton. Spirit of War, charging a courage, Banner of Courage, or just hitting with an active Iron Song Versus. These are all really good feelings when you play Bolton because you know that the next hand doesn't require either a flashed-in Lumina Ascension. It doesn't require a Courageous Steel Hand or a Beacon of Victory. It doesn't require your opponent to block. It doesn't require you to draw a charge of the Light Brigade. You just will naturally be able to give your attack go again, which means you can attack with Raiden, and then if you have extra cards to tack out at the end, you can do that. And you know that your turns are a little bit more stable. You don't have to burn your Snapdragons early. You don't have to use your Warband of Bellana. These are all things that are really, really nice. Now, there's still some variance in Bolton hands because you need to draw a charge card, but this alleviates some of the pressure to draw a charge card plus a way to ensure you have go again. So this is a very, very nice card for that. This could also, with the Vigor token creation, could enable certain builds. Prayer of Bolana, this is a card that has sneakily been getting better and better and better. They've printed, I think, 3 or 4 majestic yellows in a row now for Bolton, and we're getting to the point where Prayer of Bolana is no longer like a card that is gonna miss too often. Also, power cards like Valiant Thrust, Take Flight, these are a little bit more old school. There's a general consensus now in the Bolton community that Cheerios Bolton is the strongest version because you have to pitch a card and charge a card. Like, what are you doing with just 2 cards on offense? It's not really that good. So being able to generate some Vigor tokens could enable Valiant Thrust and Take Flight to come back into the meta. It also allows you to play good via the Vanguard turns if you're running Soul Bond Resolve instead of Tunic. So there's a lot of potential with this card. All right, so how do we utilize our soul? Well, in the past, there were just 2 ways, and then they printed Luminant Lance, and there's 3 ways. Obviously, you have your hero ability as well. But basically, you are going to use these 4 ways. Now, there are several others. If we're getting real, you technically could use Solar Flexus or something like that. But these are the common ways that you will be banishing cards from your soul in order to power up the Battlefield Beacon. So the first is obviously your hero ability. The second is Beacon of Victory, which is nice because it can scale based on how large your soul is. Luminal Lance, this is a card that is a little bit odd. You generally aren't going to be playing 3 soul into this because the third mode of Luminal Lance is just strictly worse than your hero ability. So you're generally just dumping 2 into Luminal Lance. Cataclysm is really, really good. But that requires a pretty large soul, and in certain matchups, if you're playing really aggressively, you might not have 3 soul just sitting around. But these are the main ways that you can generate or banish cards from your soul. So generally, a Battlefield Beacon is going to generate you at least 2 tokens. All right, let me give you guys an example. So let's say you have a Beaming Bravado, and you charge a yellow into your soul. You give that attack go again with your hero ability, so you banish 1 card, then you attack with Raiden, you banish 1 card, and then you come in with Battlefield Beacon. That's the simplest way to generate 2 tokens. We'll talk about what type of tokens you want to generate, but that's the most simple, straightforward way. That's a 3-card way to generate a little bit extra value, especially if your opponent is blocking any of these attacks. There's also the ability to tutor with Beacon of Victory. Generally, you were tutoring for Lumina Ascension just to put pressure onto your opponent. However, a lot of decks in the game have armor, or they run D-reacts against warriors, or they just know that they shouldn't let Lumina Ascension hit. So if you tutor for Lumina with Beacon and you don't have Spirit of Arena out, you're very unlikely to realize the maximum value from Lumina Ascension. Tutoring Battlefield Beacon basically ensures that you get 3 tokens, which means you get at least 6 value. And if you're playing Beacon of Victory, you're generally playing it on something with an on hit. So you're probably generating 7 value from that play. A Lumina Ascension is worth 8 to 10, maybe 12 value if they let it hit, but generally they're not going to let it hit. So that's why I put an asterisk there. It's not cool. Sometimes it's equal value, sometimes it's better to get a Lumina Ascension. It really, really depends on the state of the game. And then finally, obviously, if you have a lot of cards in your soul, you can obviously go with CCAT. And if you go Cataclysm into Battlefield Beacon, that's just really, really, really large amounts of value. And it also makes Bolton a little bit harder to fatigue as well, because he just has a little bit more burst damage on particular turns, especially if you set up multiple, I almost said might tokens. Courage tokens are better than might tokens. So yeah. All right, let's talk about Speaking of tokens, let's take a look at some of the tokens that you can generate and what type of situations you'd want to generate them in. So generally, you are going to create courage tokens because this is guaranteed value, it's stability, it's insurance for your next turn. Generally, you're going to probably generate 3 of them. If I'm in most matchups, you're just going to generate as many courage tokens as you can. There are some situations where you want to make some toughness and vigor tokens. So toughness tokens allow you to slow the game down a little bit if you know that your opponent has break points. If you've already made your max courage tokens, and you're not running a 1-cost heavy deck, then toughness tokens are probably the next best bet. Vigor tokens have the strongest potential, but they can be hard to convert. Now, as long as you haven't blocked twice with Iron Song verses, you're going to be able to at least generate some threat with that. But you might have to build your deck in a particular way and draw those cards when you have the vigor tokens around. So that can be a little bit tricky, but 1 vigor token can make a very, very large difference. Oftentimes it's the difference between having to pitch a card or not have to pitch a card. I mean, it's just that simple with Boltyn. It also could unlock some potential lines later. Could allow you to tutor for things like Valiant Thrust or something similar. Okay, basically, we could sum it up here. This is a card that is pretty powerful. It is a card that requires some setup. You aren't just going to rip this on turn 0 probably. And this is a card that provides flexibility, stability to Boltyn lists. It is well statted. It is a light 3-block, yellow attack action card, and it has some upsides. So this is going to be a 3x main deck staple for Boltyn going forward, in my opinion. Now, there is a little bit of downside that most Boltyn lists now start to look very, very, very similar. Like, okay, they're running 3 via the Vanguard, they're running Luminous Ascension, they're running Cataclysm, they're running Beacon of Victory, they're running, Saving Grace, they're running Beaming Bravado, they're running Bolt of Courage, they're running Engulfing Light, yada, 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 yada. They're running, Warband Tunic, so a lot of Boltyn lists have started to look the same. However, I did mention that there could be a possibility for a 1-cost style or maybe a heavier focus on Prayer of Bellana, that type of style. Yeah. Anyways, I think this card is pretty solid. Very happy to see Boltyn getting a little bit of love in this expansion slot. Yeah, should be a nice upgrade for all those MILBERs out there. All right, this has been Josh Lau with TheCardGuyz. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a good day. Take care.
Hey man, did you get the KO deck in Worlds? No one's doing that, okay?
Courage to play the whole horse down. Don't scale if you're getting greedy. You're getting 2 cards. Put him in the middle for now. That's perfect. All right, next year.
Hard hand chance.
Yeah, we're gonna have to order a couple more.
Thanks for watching the video.
Here's some more Card Guys videos you might enjoy.